Hey, everybody, let's talk about some Scientology mobile protest that's happening and how Tom Cruise is the belle of the ball. At least he is when it comes to Scientology. Hey, everybody, welcome. I'm Natalie. This is Scientology Life After a Cult, which pretty much says it all. We do touch on my 35 years in this cult and leaving with 3 generations of my family. Hello, everybody, and welcome. Good to see everybody in the chat, in the live chat. Thank you, members, for being here too. And of course, huge thank yous to the moderators for helping us out every day here. All right, you guys, we got to get into a little bit of Tom Cruise and how he is the belle of the ball, or he was the belle of the ball, I guess. Yes, he was. In the eyes of Scientology. Farrell Cheryl, I see you there. Good morning. Good morning to you as well. Okay, so as you guys know, Tom Cruise, you may not have heard, he's a Scientologist. And he attended the International Association of Scientologists event in the United Kingdom at St. Hill. This is a huge deal for Scientologists because this is their annual celebrating the work that the International Association of Scientologists does. What work is that, you might ask? Well, we're all still trying to figure that out. I mean, my family gave tens of thousands of dollars to that IAS, International Association of Scientologists, and I don't even know. I know what they claim. They claim basically to be doing good for Scientology, doing good for people, eradicating psychiatry, which kind of ties into the Tom Cruise thing that we're going to talk about too. So he goes to the International Association of Scientology event, and it's a big deal because he's flexing. He's flexing for Miscavige. In fact, let the dear leader wake up our Office of Special Affairs. David Miscavige, wake up your people. Office of Special Affairs, wake up, my lovelies. You got to hear this Tom Cruise story. I just cannot let you sleep through this whole thing. You need to be here right from the beginning. And if you're new to my channel, the Office of Special Affairs is the dirty tricks branch of Scientology. Because, you know, when you're a religion, you should have one of those for some reason. I don't know why. So Tom Cruise goes and flexes for David Miscavige at the International Association of Scientologists event. Let's just take a look at that. I'm going to show you how he was the belle of the ball. Tom Cruise turns up at Scientology's patron ball after cult bosses slammed for erecting monster super tent to host gala. Okay, right off the bat, we got some interesting words in there. Putting together Scientology cult bosses and erecting monster. Monster super tent. Because you guys, you know what happened, right? You know what was up. Scientology was like, oh, we're just going to put up this gigantic tent. We don't care if you said we could or we could not. We're just going to do it because that's what we do. Because, you know, why follow the rules of the land, the laws of the land? So this basically article just goes in to say how he was spotted at the Church of Scientology's annual Patrons Ball in England as the organization's top brass were slammed over erecting an allegedly unauthorized megatent for the event. Now, first off, I want to make sure you guys know the patron ball, the patron event, back in my day, gather around for a little back in my day. Back in my day, it was $40,000 to become a patron. Today, I just heard it was $50,000 to become a patron. I'm wondering, like, if you paid the 40, do you have to now pay 10 to still be a patron, or do they grandfather you in? I don't know. I'm just saying people who were at this thing paid $50,000 at some point to be there in the presence of the belle of the ball himself, Tom Cruise, and they were excited about it. I mean, look at this picture here. That's just a bunch of Scientologists having a good time there. That's David Miscavige there standing there at the podium, which looks a little odd, but okay. It's very wide, lower to the ground. Where's the microphone? Okay, I see. I see. So these people in the back must be people who have donated crazy amounts of money to Scientology. So this went on in East Grinstead and St. Hill, 50 miles south of London. That's where the protest was also going on with Apostate Alex, and the SP chef were there and a bunch of other people. So here's the dealio, though. A planning contravention notice is reportedly sent if local council suspects there has been a breach of planning laws. And it sounds like that's what was done because while a temporary structure does not require planning permission, if it's less than 100 meters and is removed in 28 days. Photos from ex-Scientologist Alex Barnes Ross, who runs the ScientologyBusiness.com website, revealed the tent was completed on September 12th, which exceeds the 28-day limit and also appeared to violate size restrictions. So size does matter, Scientology. Size does matter. And yeah, so they put up this gigantic tent when they weren't, shouldn't have been able to do that. And Tom Cruise was the belle of the ball. So I would say that's all pretty much like on track, on par, on brand for, Scientology to just do something like that and not bother following the actual rules. And I also thought this is a good time to remind people, especially anyone that might be new to the channel or the topic of exposing Scientology, this dangerous human trafficking cult, that Tom Cruise had some choice things to say about psychiatry. Hold on a second here. Let's take a look at this. Just a little remembrance here. Do you guys remember when Tom Cruise said there is no such thing as a chemical imbalance? Tom Cruise unleashes hell on psychiatric drugs, targeting children in resurfaced interview. So do you remember there was an interview? He did a couple of interviews. One of them was on the Today Show where he basically was like, there's no such thing as a chemical imbalance. Brooke Shields is wrong for getting treatment for her postpartum because, nothing like having a celebrity, a man like Tom Cruise saying what women should or should not do when it comes to childbirth. Why does that sound familiar to me? Oh yeah, L. Ron Hubbard. L. Ron Hubbard, the founder of Scientology. What did he say? He said we could not use drugs when we gave birth to our children. We could not. We could not. Why? Because it could create an engram, a moment of pain and unconsciousness for the child. So once again, this is making the rounds again that he said this. And you know what? I'm here for it. Let's be honest. I'm happy about this. After shaming Brooke Shields for taking antidepressants for her postpartum depression, Tom Cruise went on a rant about his hate for psychiatry. So I'm going to link these articles and videos down below. You can read the whole thing. But I thought, isn't it interesting that that's making the rounds again, that what Tom Cruise has said about psychiatry? Because you guys know Scientology is not down with psychiatry. They do a mobile exhibit called Psychiatry, an Industry of Death, and are trying to eliminate any actual legitimate mental health treatments. That's how that goes. That's how that goes. Hey, everybody coming in, could you show that like button some aloha? And if you're catching this on the replay, hit that like button and hit subscribe as well. I would greatly appreciate it. Okay, now let's go over and talk a little bit about Riley Keough, who I like to call former Scientologist Riley Keough, even though I'm 90% sure that is the case. I'm still going to do it. Former Scientologist Riley Keough is speaking up about being a nepo baby. I actually thought this was kind of cool because she's just embracing it and says, I'm not an idiot. Elvis' granddaughter Riley Keough knows she's a nepo baby. So this goes into basically talking about how the actress, daughter of Lisa Marie Presley, has admitted that her famous family gave her a head start in the entertainment industry. Of course it did. And I thought, her talking about it and kind of just like not sidestepping that and going like, yeah, of course I was. I know it helped me in my career. I thought was kind of cool. I'm going to link the article down below so you can read it because I'm not going to read the whole thing. But I thought it was a good one. And our girl, former Scientologist Riley Keough, at least that's what I think. I do. You guys tell me. We've been talking about this for a while. Do you guys think Riley Keough is a former Scientologist or current Scientologist? Tell me in the live chat. You can just say former or current. And if you're on the replay, please do the same. I'm going to go through those comments and see what you guys think. It's Riley Keough. Did she leave Scientology? All right, we're going to talk about somebody who did not leave Scientology and who should, and that is Stephen Ridley. He is a piano player. I did a video yesterday with Guitar Stuff Studio, Andy. I'm going to link it down below so you guys can go check it out if you did not see it. And we were getting into this whole thing where there is a pianist named Stephen Ridley, who is a Scientologist in the United Kingdom, although rumors are he has since moved to the United States. So I don't know if we have to claim him or we can just send him back to England. I don't know how it's working. But here's the deal. This guy's being accused of basically having a Scientology honeypot recruitment scheme through his piano academy to bring unsuspecting, innocent young women into Scientology, or young people in general. But there seems to be a focus on young women. So, oh, and I see all your former current. Keep it coming, keep it coming. Hey, Mama's live. Ooh, Mama's with me on former. Yeah, former Scientologist Riley Keough. That's right, Lori Plays. We want a refund, send him back. So, Stephen Ridley has really been kind of making the news lately, especially across the YouTubes in the music community. And we're going to take a look at an interview that I did. Let's see here, where we go over a little bit about why this is a deal, why you should be aware of this. Listen to this. Ridley Academy Scientology Recruitment Center. This is a Scientology recruitment center hiding behind Ridley Academy Piano Masterclass. A group of Scientologists hide behind this piano school front to get young, unsuspecting, vulnerable women to get feelings for Stephen Ridley and then slowly manipulate them into joining Scientology through endless email campaigns that lead them to free mental health courses. The entire school is all Scientology recruiters posing as helpful musicians and music coaches to get. Now, this was written by somebody whose daughter almost got swept up into Scientology due to the recruitment by Stephen Ridley's Piano Academy. You into Scientology. I had to stop my teenage daughter from getting involved with them. What a shame. I was hopeful this didn't have any agenda and only to learn the piano for her as an alternate to social media. Sadly, this is nothing but a recruiting school for unsuspecting students and young vulnerable women. Ridley Academy Scientology recruitment. All right, so you kind of get the gist there about, that the interview I did yesterday and the information coming out about Stephen Ridley, and it is like, this is the more, the more you look into it, the more you go down one of these Scientology rabbit holes, the more twisted and weird and bizarre it gets. And I don't know, F Scientology London saying they don't want him back. You got to take him back. You got to take him back. We'll trade. Do you have any of ours over there in London that you want to send back to the States? We could do a trade. So anyways, we're going to be talking a lot more about Stephen Ridley, something you need to keep an eye on. And if you are in music or piano and all of that, you definitely want to, because it's interesting too that I heard that his ads are popping up on my YouTube videos now. Which I guess makes sense because I'm talking about him. It's interesting how the algorithm works. It doesn't really differentiate whether you're talking about in support or not. It's just, are you talking about it? Same reason why Grant Cardone videos show up on my YouTube channel as well for commercials, because I do talk about him on occasion, once in a great while. I don't know, at least once a week. At least once a week. So Andy at Guitar Stuff Studio, he is the person I did that video with yesterday. I just want to share one more clip to introduce you to Andy and, kind of learn a little bit more about him and how he's gone down this rabbit hole with Scientology and Stephen Ridley, and how Scientologists have been using kind of like the music world to recruit.
I'm not gonna lie, right? I mean, I was in the military for 15 years. I've done and seen a lot of things, but this actually made me feel a little bit sick, because I mean, like I say, from watching your channel and Aaron's channel, I know how much Scientology ruins people's lives, breaks up families, and all the rest of it. And I'm not gonna lie, right? I mean,
It's so fascinating to me. It reminds me, do you guys remember the whole Aaron Cairo, who runs Scientology in San Francisco and Braille skateboarding, but he went to Florida to train under David Miscavige to be a Scientology executive for 3 years, pretty much dumped his business, went back, shut down the skate park, screwed over a bunch of people, basically just showed up channeling, I don't know, David Miscavige, maybe. Yes. And the skateboard community was up in arms about it. And they started exposing Scientology and the ties to the skateboard community. And I think we're having a similar type of reckoning happening in the world of music. and specifically here when it comes to piano, but in music for sure. In the video, we also talk about Emily Armstrong and her ties to Scientology, her getting current Scientology services from what's called a field auditor. That's somebody who doesn't work directly as a staff member, but they audit people. They deliver Scientology services for a fee, and then they pay a percentage of that fee to the mother church. Hey, MD Media 18, we about to get in some of your stuff. Yes, we are. So the whole thing is like, oh, all this like Scientology recruitment. I don't know. Obviously, I'd like to think I was in Scientology for 35 years that I wouldn't fall for it again. I would not. But I'm even walking around the grocery store. Everybody, you want a sample of this? Are you Scientology? Are you Scientology? It could almost make you paranoid. It's like they pop up in the oddest places. It is entertaining though. Okay, take a look at this next clip. If you guys have not seen the interview at Growing Up in Scientology with Vanessa Winbury, you're missing out. I'm going to share a clip from it. I'm going to link it down below. It's on Growing Up in Scientology, and you should check it out.
I mean, we were hardly ever seeing the full pay either. So, like, it was just lack of money coming from the orgs was what we understood it to be. Like,
and yet, every single David Miscavige event, he's talking about highest ever, unprecedented expansion, 2x, 3x, 4x. Do you remember ever questioning whether the shit in the event was real? Because I know you've heard me say, I never did. I didn't in the beginning. It was honestly, I kind of treated events same way I treated having to go see Battlefield Earth when that came out. And
now, remember, she was a Sea Org member, so you're working like all the time, 7 days a week for Scientology with no time off.
Forced to see it is that it was a time for me to relax, sit in darkness, doze maybe a little bit in between standing up and sitting down for hip hip hoorays. Yeah, it was, yeah. I wasn't really paying attention too closely to it.
I so relate to that. Those events, especially for those of us in the Sea Org, were kind of a break. You get to sit in some dim lights. You got to get up and down a lot because you have to hip, hip, hooray to L. Ron Hubbard and David Miscavige. But you guys, it was like, we also got to get out of our uniforms, which I liked. You got to get a little dressed up. It was almost worth having to sit through a 3-4 hour propaganda event for Scientology. And at the time, we didn't think it was that. We thought it was actual information being delivered to us about what Scientology was doing with all of the money that they were collecting. Arkansas Flamingos catching up on chipmunk speed, which means I'm going to speak even faster so that it sounds really funny when you do that. Okay, let's talk a little. Did you guys notice I'm kind of like, I'm vibing fall today? I really am. I'm vibing fall. Halloween is coming up. In fact, it's tomorrow. Yes, it is. Check this out from Cricket Cinema. The Scientology costumes. So I wish somebody would actually do this for real because I think this is fabulous. I just love it. I thought that was so hilarious. And really, I was like, ooh, if I had any artistic skill at all, because I do own boxes and I feel like that's just like a 3-box thing you could put together. But yeah, that ship has sailed. Halloween is tomorrow. I do not have time. Yadira, thank you so much for reminding people to hit that like and subscribe. I appreciate it. Okay, Lo, let's, ooh, that's right. Speaking of spooky, came across this little short we're going to share here. Morbid facts about Scientology.
Some morbid facts about the Church of Scientology. The wife of Scientology leader David Miscavige has not been seen since 2007. Multiple missing persons reports have been filed, but each time they've been closed within hours by the LAPD as unfounded. The same woman's mother was found dead in 1985 with 3 gunshot wounds to the chest and 1 to the head. Her death was officially ruled a suicide. Scientologist Lisa McPherson died after undergoing an introspection rundown at the church's headquarters in Florida.
He goes over a few more. I'm going to link it down below. You should check it out. But I just love when people across YouTube put out that Scientology content, especially right now, being it is a spooky time of year. Yes, it is. When I was in the Sea Org, I don't remember ever doing Halloween. Obviously, we weren't trick-or-treating, even though many of us were kids. Like even when I was there, 15, 16, we did not do that at all. There was no trick-or-treating or dressing up or anything like that. It just wasn't part of it. It's distracting. It's distracting. It's distracting from work. You know, when you're doing the job, you're doing the Scientology job. What are you going to do? You got to be working. You can't be trick-or-treating and doing fun Halloween stuff. So I now try to do fun Halloween stuff when I can. So yeah. Ooh, Jen Sell, we are going to talk about werewolves. We're going to talk about, in fact, that's my next clip. So funny you should say that. Let's talk about werewolves. Kelli Copter. Kelli Copter, you guys know I love Kelli Copter. She plays this game called Werewolves. In fact, I'm going to play on Halloween, which I guess is tomorrow. And she's doing it 3 nights in a row. And it is hilarious. Let's take a look at a clip from yesterday when she did Werewolves.
Okay, can I first ask that the priest opens their eyes? Priest, open your eyes. Thank you, priest. Now you can bless a player this evening and they will not be able to be murdered by the werewolves. Please show me the name of the player you'd like to bless. Okay.
So everybody had their eyes covered up because they can't see who the priest is. I'm still figuring out how the game works, but I'm really excited to play. You can go to Kelli Copter's channel. She will be doing another one tonight and then one tomorrow, and I'll be on the one tomorrow. I think it's 4 p.m. Central Time. You'll have to look, hit the notification bell over on her channel, and it'll tell you in your time zone what time we're going to be playing. Oh, look, Brian's going to be on Thursday. I'll be on Werewolf Game on Thursday. We'll be on together. How fun is that? I have no idea who else is playing on Thursday, but I am excited about it. I really am. Okay, now let's take a look at PTS for Life with Gabrielle from Escaping the Cultiverse. Let's look at a little clip of what they were talking about. I'm going to link the video down below. You should check out the whole interview.
The loss of connections that define us.
Yes. Ooh.
That opens a whole new world of
It is.
conversation.
It's a whole new can of worms. And as soon as you said that when we were talking off air, it's like this whole sort of thing opened up for me, and all the various, like when you're a Scientologist, that's your identity.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And when you become a non-Scientologist, that's you leave that identity behind, or you lose it.
It's so interesting and fascinating because they get into that whole idea of completely losing your identity when you leave Scientology. Because really, it wasn't your identity to begin with. This is my opinion, is that's the identity they gave us. They wanted us to have, what they wanted us to be so that we could do what it is they wanted us to do. L. Ron Hubbard talks about this be, do, have, which is not something he created. I saw it on Dr. Phil, except I think on Dr. Phil, they went backwards, be, do, have. So you figure out what you want to have, what you need to do to have that, and what you need to be to have that. And that is something taught in Scientology, just a little different. Again, not created by L. Ron Hubbard, but it makes sense to me now in hindsight how Scientology knew, especially in the Sea Organization, and those of us who grew up in Scientology and were in the Sea Organization as young people, as kids, they wanted to have something. They wanted to have things a certain way. And L. Ron Hubbard went, okay, what do we need? What do we need people to do? Oh, the Sea Organization, 24/7, basically creating a cult. What do they need to be? Brainwashed, mind control, controlled by us, following these rules, all of the things. So it really is interesting to hear that conversation of moving away from that identity that you thought was yours that really wasn't, because it wasn't you. It's what they told you you should be. I feel like I'm out of Scientology for 14 years and I am still dealing with that. And I think many of you maybe who, if you've been in a high control group or an abusive situation, might have experienced something similar in terms of what somebody wanted you to be and said you needed to be versus who you actually were. This is not unique to Scientology, but and I think it's why many of you might relate, is because even me at 54, I'm figuring out who I am. And I've been out of Scientology for 14 years. And I think many of you, because I hear from you, in ways are going through things that are similar and moving beyond trauma or whatever it was in your past and seeing how that shapes us versus how we actually want to be, who we are, how we want to show up every day. Because it doesn't need to be dictated by, or at least for me, by my Scientology past or my time in Scientology. I find the whole topic fascinating when former Scientologists talk about that and that shift in identity. So check that out if you get a chance. MD Media, you still here? Let's go over to some MD Media videos. He had an interesting conversation with somebody outside of Scientology in Los Angeles.
People want medication for mental illness. They want that freedom. I'm not stopping that.
No, of course not. Of course not.
But what I'm saying is, it doesn't do anything to help you.
Right.
The medications don't. That's just their lifestyle and what they, how that they,
Everyone does it
well through their culture and
exactly.
everything. They're part of the society system.
Right.
Now, he obviously has an opinion on medication, and everybody is welcome to their opinion, except Tom Cruise. I'm going to throw him and his opinion on this every day, all day. And the thing is it sounded like, from what I watched on the video, is that he was going into Scientology to try to find out what's up. And in speaking to MD Media, they were able to really kind of you got to see, I wish I could play the whole thing. It's minutes and minutes long. You got to check it out, because you see this evolution in the conversation of both of them realizing that they're actually not far apart in their views on Scientology. And this guy shared some things about his experience in going in to Scientology to actually try to find out. And you know what they did? No, we don't want you. No, because he didn't have any money. He doesn't have the funds for Scientology. I know that's shocking many of you. What do you mean, Natalie, not having the funds and Scientology doesn't want you? That's next level crazy. It totally is, but it's really interesting, and seeing MD Media kind of realize too, like, oh, wait, he's saying this. It just was a great conversation, and shows that when you take the time to like let each other speak and hear each other, that you can kind of understand more what the situation is. And I thought it was ridiculous that here's a guy going in to find out more about Scientology, and Scientology is like, yeah, you don't have no money. And he even talks about how no one would actually talk to him about it. It's watch this video. It's really interesting. And MD Media is doing some great things he's going and pre-recording video and then uploading it. So it's very clear, and he's sharing a lot. You see organization members and people who may not have been seen by their family for a long time. And now they can see. So I feel like a lot of people are watching that to find out, even see like their people. So again, MDMedia18 is doing that. Link down below. He got into an Uber after. Okay, so he doesn't have no money, but it was a great conversation there. And I'm so glad that you shared it. And you guys, when you get a chance, like I said, after this video, I'll link it down below. Go check it out. Check out the footage. It was a really interesting conversation. All right, now let's talk about Dan Walks LA and his mobile protest of Scientology, because I am loving this so much I can hardly stand it. Look at this. This is Dan Walks LA.
Looking so disheveled, a floating promise for upper sea levels. When they step aboard, they'll see it's all a lie. On board the freeways, where your freedom dies.
So Dan Walks LA, we talked about this yesterday. I found out during the live stream, wrote the lyrics for those songs. I thought he kind of AI'd the whole thing. That is amazing, which makes me even more appreciative of Dan Walks LA and what he's doing. So the other day, he was outside of the Scientology location, the Hollywood Testing Center. He took it mobile to multiple locations to expose Scientology and share that message. And it was amazing.
The Church of Scientology is once again proving why it's such a contentious organization. 2 months ago, a court found one of its members, Hollywood actor Danny Masterson, guilty of multiple rapes. Those victims may feel they have a stronger voice. Now Scientology has been exposed through the Masterson rape trial. But as you'll see, for those disaffected by the church, the first and greatest challenge remains getting out.
How great is that? Just through the streets of Hollywood, got the speakers going, got the lights for nighttime. I just loved it. Scientology Up North, Dan is the man of the fall. Yes, I agree. Yadira says, Matt, keep up the good trouble. That's right. That's MD Media. If you guys don't know, his name's Matt. James, it was corn. Oh, I thought that was a different comment. Ah, I love it. I love you guys showing love to these people who are out there doing this. Thank you for doing that. And if their content resonates with you, subscribe to their channels as well. Every time you guys like a video, every time you watch a video, it helps get these messages out. Commenting, interacting, it all helps with the algorithm to get our videos and messages out to even more people. So just by being here, you guys are helping a ton, and I appreciate it and thank you. So let's look at a little bit more about what Dan was doing. This is again in front of a Scientology location.
Jenna Miscavige Hill spent more than 20 years in the church with her uncle. She told her story to Liz Hayes.
There's not an exact criteria for evil, but I would definitely say, you know, somebody who makes rules that thousands and thousands of people can't have children and runs a church where there's child labor.
So it's so cool because Dan has created this video kind of on a loop, and he's sharing survivor stories, documentaries, other media that covered Scientology. And I'm loving it. That's right. Spread the word, spread the love. Thank you, thank you, thank you. MD Media says it feels so good to be back out there at both locations, and I appreciate you all. That's right. MD Media also is out in Pasadena. We see him out there. So Dan Walks LA, of course, went back to the Hollywood Testing Center where all of these live streaming protests started a year ago. Check it out.
Valerie Haney's advice is simple. Steer clear. What warning would you give others about Scientology?
I would say don't even think about it. And I would say run for the hills. Do not get involved at all whatsoever.
Just playing it right in the street, right in front of Hollywood Scientology's testing center. I love that so much. It's fantastic. And again, that is Dan Walks LA. Now let's go over and get a quick update from Miriam in Denmark on what's happening with their work to expose Scientology.
But the most important thing is that we keep going. This is not a magic trick where one email is received by one specific politician, for example, and they will just drive through with this agenda. We need to keep on going with this until they do something about it. I haven't been in touch with Robert recently, but I will also get an update with him soon, in case he has heard something recent happening in the Danish parliament. But at least I can say with with certainty that there are people that do have Scientology on their agenda. And that's why I do not want to name these people that have responded.
So you can go to sptv.space and you can find on that website under resources how even us in the United States, if you're in Canada, you're in the UK, you can, on the Danish side of it, you can go and you can send a letter to their lawmakers urging them to basically, sending them information, educate them on Scientology, and asking them to not support it, to join in exposing Scientology. It is a cult. You can do the same thing on the United States side. If you go to sptv.space under resources, there's a form letter that you can look at for inspiration or even use it. And there's a list of different lawmakers. You find your state, you send it to them. And then if you get a response, you can send a copy of that to an email address that's on that same site, so they can be tracked and we can see who is supporting what here in the United States. And Miriam's, leading this charge in Denmark to educate their lawmakers as well on the abuses of Scientology and to create some change. Okay, and good to see you too. I see she's here. Hello, Scientology Up North. Nancy, thank you for the reminder. I am now doing weekly members only lives. Right now, I'm doing them on Tuesday at 4 p.m. Central. Might be doing them on Wednesdays in a little bit, playing around with the time, but that's a way for me to connect with members of the channel because your added support there, I really appreciate. There will be a link down below in this video or on my channel. You can click join memberships to find out more about that and join us. And I'll be honest, yesterday we did one and it was pretty much me crying. It's a space too where you know, because it's a members only thing, it's like we don't have to worry as much about trolls and things like that. It's a little more low key and relaxed, especially for the moderators. So if you want to go ahead and join that, and it is another way to support the channel, and I really appreciate your help with that. So keep an eye out for more of those. But do remember, just being here, liking the video, subscribing, watching the videos is plenty support. And I appreciate that and all of you and your input, because let's be honest, it's going to be the people never in Scientology, but all in on ending this cult that's going to actually end it. It really is. All right, everybody, I'm going to tell you what, I'm probably going to see you later on today. We shall see. Thank you so much for being here. Most of all, get out and have an amazing cult-free day.